everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Honey Radio. This is our second podcast ever. Welcome to thehorrorhoneys.com online. So we have with me tonight my monster honey, Danica.
Hello.
Revenge honey, Linny.
Hi.
Supernatural honey, Suzanne.
Hello.
And Sci-Fi honey, I almost said space honey, Sci-Fi honey, Jen.
Woo!
So to kick it off the right way, I'm going to get the two honeys that are joining us for the first time to introduce themselves and their subgenre. So I'm going to start with Danica.
Hello. Yes, it's Danica, spelled D-A-N-I-C-A, not to be confused with Danica. I am the monster honey, as Kat said, and I watch and write about and tweet about anything and everything monster, which includes monsters, vampires, mutated bugs, animals, whatever you can think of that's a little animalistic. So that's me. You can reach me on Twitter. It's Danica the Freaka, Thefreaka, and that's me. You will not find me on Facebook, so that's that.
So I wanted to ask you, Danica, what got you into monster? Because I know when I put my call out on Twitter for writers, you were really super interested in the monster aspect of it. And I want to know why.
What did you say?
I want to know why.
I just love monsters. I always have. I don't really have a reason why. I just like things that can't be described, that scare you, or not described but explained. I don't know.
I think there's also that horrifying aspect of them, that they're something that isn't human and something that you can't escape from and you can't control.
Right.
I think that's a big aspect of it as well. Because I mean, when I started monster things, I was like, well, we could have people that specialize in writing about vampires and blah blah blah, but they're all monsters. Like, if you look at the Marvel monsters, the original monsters, I mean, you have Frankenstein, werewolf, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon. It kind of covers all of that.
Yeah. And I've had, some questions about, oh, well, does this fit into monsters? The one that came up recently was witches.
Yeah, I saw that.
And if you start thinking about it too much, it's like, I've had people say, well, that's really a monster too. Like, well, you have to draw the line somewhere. But witches, I think, like you mentioned, does fit more into sort of supernatural territory. But
yeah, it's one of those things, like a lot of our subgenres, they kind of overlap.
Right.
In creepy little ways. Like, I mean, some of Jen's aliens and sci-fi things kind of dip into monster territory as well.
Yeah, I would say ours probably cross the most.
I agree.
Critters, yay!
Yeah. So.
Totally. Awesome. Okay, so Jen, it's now your turn.
Excellent. Hello, I'm Jen Spacey, the Sci-Fi Honey at Jen, Jen Spacey, Stacey on the tweeters. I am, as Sci-Fi Honey, just pretty much live tweet review, what have you, anything alien / robot / space related / some monsters, but not all. Then yes. I pretty much got into sci-fi when I was young with monsters. When I was, I think, 8, I watched Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D on our big giant floor model TV. But I used the red and green knobs to turn the TV so it would be 3D, and then used the little 3D glasses out of the World Book Encyclopedia. And my family thought I was a weirdo. So I sat there alone and watched Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D. Because I was weird. So that introduced me to the whole monster / sci-fi thing. I kind of kept going from there.
Awesome.
If it's related to space, I like it.
Awesome. And I know you have a soft spot for post-apocalyptic stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's call it a mild hard-on. Let's just call it that.
Usually if it's post-apocalyptic dystopia, I love post-apocalyptic dystopia. Yeah, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, The Stand. This series called The Passage by Justin Cronin, which is kind of vampires but kind of not, but it's kind of like The Road Stand, I call it. The Road and the Stand.
Oh, fuck. Do you have a favorite alien or spacey creature?
Well, I have to say it's probably the critters, but it depends if you mean like something cute and cuddly or something horrible and evil. Like of course,
it's up to you. I always pick horrible evil things for my favorites, so it's up to you.
Well, I liked, as you probably guessed by the whole Alien series retrospective thing I'm doing, I like the Alien. It has. I noticed that the first one, the aliens look great in the first one, but kind of the second one, they kind of changed a bit. They're not as cute, but not cute, but pretty. Mother looks great. But yeah, that's probably my favorite alien. I really like Predator. That is a hot alien, oddly.
I know, right? What the hell is it about bounty hunters? I have this issue. I don't know.
I know. Him and Boba, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to turn that question on Danica as well. Danica, do you have a favorite monster?
I really like werewolves.
I've noticed that. You write about a lot of werewolf-themed movies.
I do really like werewolves. So obviously, An American Werewolf in London. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
My all-time favorite films. And I actually saw the one what did I live tweet that last week? Bad Moon.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before. It was like in one of those 3 or 4 packs that cost like $5.
I love those.
So I was expecting it to be total shit, and the wolf actually looks really good.
It's always nice when that's the best part.
Yeah. The rest of it was not so good. Especially the transformation was just shit.
Oh.
But the wolf was good. I don't know. I just love all monsters. Really, I love critters. Like Jen mentioned, Jen and I have been talking about doing a tandem review on that.
Yes, you should.
Yeah, we both love that film. But I love all of those 80s little monsters, gremlins, stuff like that. So
awesome. Well, I like that you chose werewolves first. I mean, I think just what I was mentioning before about monsters being that uncontrollable part of a person.
Right.
And I think I like werewolves just because it's that primal side.
Definitely.
I don't know. Okay, Suzanne.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you this too. Do you have a favorite supernatural entity thing that you gravitate towards more than other things?
I don't know. I guess I read probably one of the first supernatural things that I read was The Shining, but also The Exorcist. So, I have a soft spot for anything. I think I mentioned this last week. I have a soft spot anything that is centered around the Catholic religion.
Agreed.
So, because I hate Catholicism. Because I grew up in such a strict household, and did the Catholic school nonsense and all that crap. So
it's always entertaining.
But it fascinates me to no end, the whole, like The Omen and The Exorcist and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I kind of dig that. But at the same time, probably, and I know this kind of falls in Danica's territory, but it's also supernatural because, again, you're talking, all these subgenres kind of cross over. Are vampires. I really like the vampires. Christopher Lee was one of my first crushes because I grew up on Hammer horror films. So.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love that all our little subgenres kind of cross over together. I think that's really cool.
It is fun.
And it really, instead of separating us and keeping us all in our little compartments, it's really unifying. And I really like that. Like, even, like, there's supernatural elements to zombies as well. And it's nice to have that all kind of click together so we can all relate on a different level. It's not like, I don't get that. You just keep that over there.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of all involved in each other's little worlds, which is really cool.
Invading each other's personal space.
Yes, but we're good at that.
Yes.
It's only harassment if you don't like it. Isn't that how it goes? I don't know. Okay, so now that we've introduced everybody and gotten everybody a little bit warmed up, is everybody warmed up? Nobody's warmed up. Hot. Jen's hot.
It's hot.
I want to talk about Stephen King Week, which has been consuming our Twitter and our website and our Facebook and everything for the last entire week. I want to know how everybody's feeling about Stephen King Week.
Every week is Stephen King Week.
I know, it should be, shouldn't it?
Revenge Honey has no idea what's been going on in the last 20 minutes because she's been doing honey work.
I know, I saw that, thank you.
Love you guys, though.
That's okay. We'll leave you to last. So I'm going to start with Jen. So I want to know how you got started into really appreciating Stephen King and how you feel about Stephen King Week. I don't know. How do you feel about it? I don't know. Talk to me about Stephen King Week for you.
Sure. I started, as I mentioned in my review of The Stand, all of the reviews of The Stand.
All of them.
I read it when I was in my early teens, probably. I guess the early 80s.
Thank you for taking that giant project on, by the way.
Oh my god. Seriously, I meant it. Like, I don't think I read and watched and wrote that much in 2 weeks in my entire university life. Sweet Jesus, they're like 1,000 pages each.
And you volunteered for that one, too.
I know, I totally was like, oh yeah, I totally have time on my hands. And then the whole car accident happened. I was like, oh, last time. But yeah, it was quite interesting. And yeah, I haven't watched the miniseries since it came out in, I don't know, the 1800s or whatever it was. So I totally forgot that Rob Lowe was in it.
Oh, I know, and his bad haircut. Fuck.
Oh, his little skater cut.
I know. It just brought elementary school memories rushing back. It's awful.
Yeah.
God, there's so much hate for Rob Lowe.
It's because he's a douche.
I've seen him, like, in The West Wing. He's actually quite good for the couple episodes I saw, and I've seen him in things since then. He's actually, like I said, I think he took lessons.
He must have. He was even decent in Austin Powers. That's sad.
Yeah, like back in the Youngblood / this and St. Elmo's Fire. Not a great actor. Seriously, I thought he was so hot when I was like 15, 16, and he's aesthetically pleasing. He certainly is. But
Hey, he's intended to play the saxophone in St. Elmo's Fire. So
that was, like I said, aesthetically pleasing, and he plays the saxophone for sure.
Oh my god.
To be fair, no one is really a standout actor in The Stand.
Oh, come on. Gary Sinise?
Gary Sinise
Well,
did
Gary
great.
Sinise was a
He's
hottie.
wonderful, and I
Ed
and
Harris
I
did well.
support him, but
Ed Harris is always phenomenal. And Matt Frewer. I fucking love Matt Frewer. Trash Can Man?
ugh.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I don't know.
Sub note: David Morse is a delightful human being. I met him in Wilmington when they were filming that Dakota Fanning Elvis movie, Hound Dog.
Hound Dog.
Yeah, David Morse is a delightful, very sweet person. Like, I was amazed. I met him at a bar, and he is a nice person. And so that's a soft spot for him.
He is a nice man.
Yeah, he can do no wrong because he is a nice person. It's trust me. I almost got in a fist fight with Katie Holmes.
What?
I'm not going over
I'm
this.
really lost now because while I adore David Morse and I despise Katie Holmes, did I miss something? Because neither one of them are in The Stand.
David Morse is an electrolyzer. Sorry.
Ah!
Honey has been drinking.
Wow.
Okay.
Let's
Okay,
go back to
I was
Jen.
gonna say, I know I've seen The Stand several times.
Yeah.
I could because
I mixed that and Langoliers up in my head because I watched them at the same time. So it kind of mixed in my head. Whereas I read the books years apart, the miniseries are basically the same thing.
I'm totally not editing that out, by the way.
Don't feel the need to.
I don't. Okay, Jen, let's go back to you because we totally derailed you. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. You do that all the time. Basically, so anyway, there was the stand. I was watching the miniseries, and it was, well, the first three were actually quite good. I thought at times they were very good. Rob Lowe, the fourth and last section, I would have thought it'd be the strongest section because, you know, hey, you're doing the big finale, and it was really iffy. Overall, it was good. This is definitely 3.5. But the novels, yeah. So anyway, the stand itself is the reason I got into Stephen King, because I read that and just went, oh my God, it's amazing. And pretty much read every single thing, everything he wrote before or after that, right up till the Dark Tower series. And then I really super tried to read the first book of the Dark Tower series. I wanted to like it. And I tried 3 times, and it's the first book. Literally, it was the first book of my entire life I didn't finish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, and why was that for you?
It just bored me. Like, I found the, you know, hey, still wandering through the desert, huh, dude, or wherever the heck he was, you know? Oh, how's that wasteland? Still walking, huh?
Still wasted.
Yeah, I'm with Jen on that because I didn't I have not. I was in the same boat with the first one. I've not gone back to read them. I keep buying them, but I have not actually read any of them.
I actually suggest trying the graphic novels. It gives it a whole different perspective. Like, it seems so daunting when you're reading the books, but when you're actually reading the graphic novels, having that visualization behind it, it makes it so much easier to understand what's going on. And the graphic novels are so beautifully drawn. I think it really makes a huge difference. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, then I skipped. So finally, after like 3 times of trying the first one, I finally gave up and went to the second one and said, well, maybe the second one's better. So went to the second one. I got 2 chapters into the second one and said, okay, screw this, I'm done. But unfortunately, he kept writing them. Of course, I'm sure fortunately for him, and people like him. But then unfortunately for me, the next few books he wrote after the Dark Tower stuff and in between had characters from the Dark Tower in them. And if you didn't know who the characters were, then you're kind of like, who the hell is that?
I hate it when that happens. I really hate it when that happens.
So unfortunately, the next couple of books I read during and after the Dark Tower had characters that you should have known if you'd read the Dark Tower in them. So I couldn't read those either, so I just stopped reading them. So the first book since the Dark Tower that I've read of his is right now. Actually, I'm halfway through it. I got Under the Dome.
How do you like Under the Dome?
It's a little more. It's less Stephen King-y to me than his usual stuff. It's hard to explain. It's more what people would actually do if you're trapped under a dome by yourselves.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it's, to me, like, it's just people turned into real giant dickheads.
Well, that's really cool.
I thought it was very Stephen King-y, where there's like 8,000 subplots and there's a lot going on, and then it gets wrapped up really quickly at the very end.
Has anyone watched the series?
Yes.
What did you think of the series?
That took me 2 tries. The first one,
I haven't liked it at all.
I started watching it and realized in the first episode that it was not even remotely like the book. Yeah. And I really liked the book a lot. And so I kind of gave up after the first episode. And then when I read an article by Stephen King where, you know, he said that he realized that it was vastly different and he signed off on it, and that if he's okay with it, everybody else should be okay with it too. And I was like, well, screw that. I really like the book. I don't have to be okay with it just because it's out. But then I got bored one night and I was home by myself, and I was on Amazon Prime and it was free on there. So I started watching it again and gave it a second chance. And at that point, I was kind of over my anger. And I enjoyed most of it. it was like right up until the last couple of episodes when it just got just too bizarre even for me.
I just feel like it built so slowly, and it was none of that. I mean, again, none of the detail that makes Stephen King books so fantastic was there.
Yeah.
But I feel like just, I don't know, besides some really great actors being in it that I was thoroughly impressed with some of the acting, I was so bored. I kept watching it because I wanted to love it, and I do that a lot. Like, I force myself to watch things because I want to love them. But by the time the series was over, I was just so underwhelmed. Like, I don't know. And I love Dean Norris, who from Breaking Bad. But like,
Breaking Brad is a whole different movie.
Breaking Bad.
But I don't know. Like, and Rachel Lefebvre, who is gorgeous and amazing in so many movies that I love, but I don't know. It did nothing for me, and I don't know if I'm going to watch the next season.
I think that's what killed it for me, was when I found out that they were greenlighting a second season.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary.
I was like, I was okay with the fact that it was a miniseries and that it was going to end.
Yeah.
And then, when you're going to drag it out, that kind of killed it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
But hey, Mike Vogel was really hot. Shout out to Mike Vogel, wherever you are.
I'll be sure to tag him in it when I post.
Yeah, please do. What other movie? Wasn't he in Cloverfield?
Yes, and he was also in Bates Motel series, which he was quite good into.
I have not watched
that means he's been in Vancouver.
And he was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake with Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel was in that?
In the first remake, yeah.
The remake, not
remake, yeah. Not
okay.
Not continuation.
That terrible
shit.
You want to watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting off track. Oh my god, you guys. Jen, do you have anything else to say about Stephen King Week?
Yes, I really liked reading everybody else's stuff, and good job on the Honey Jam.
Those were fun, hey?
Fun.
I was super, super stoked on how those came out.
Yeah, that was our dark comedy, honey.
Yeah, I know she's really proven herself prolific in that. I quite enjoyed that. So Jen, did you have a favorite review of something that you haven't seen or something that you have seen or read?
I have to say, I like The Shining.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Good job.
All right, so Suzanne, since your picture is right next to Jen's right now, I'm going to turn to you next. Haha.
Like Jen, I kind of outlined The Shining. I think was the very first book that I read of his, and then probably Salem's Lot, which I just adore. And after I watched the miniseries the other night for 3 hours.
I love how you made the mistake of live tweeting that.
Oh my god. Okay, here's the thing. I really do. There's just this nostalgia, I guess, for me, and I'm happy that I have a copy of it, but I don't think when you're watching it just to watch it, it's entertaining, but when you're watching it to try to find something, to live tweet about, and you realize just how boring it is. With all of the staring and the driving and the staring.
That was really funny.
I never noticed that before. And then I just never realized that it was 3 hours. I don't know why. But it's a made for TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the book, and after watching it, now I want to reread the book again.
Well, that's a good thing.
It's been years since I've reread it. He's one of the few authors that I can say that I do reread the books frequently, especially his early ones. And God bless him that he is not an addict any longer, or that he is a recovering addict. But really, after he dried out, his writing is a little bit different.
I would agree.
I liked his writing better when he was drunk.
You know what? I feel the same way about Robin Williams' comedy.
Exactly.
He was way funnier when he was jacked on coke all the time.
But like his first, I Love Carrie. Night Shift is one of my favorite collections, which is an early work of his.
Mm-hmm.
But Salem's Lot and The Shining are probably two of my favorites. And but I love anything that's like short story of his. I think he's just amazing when it comes to even some of his later collections. I think are really spectacular.
Oh, God, I thought I turned my notifications off. Oh, well. Awesome. Did you have a favorite feature this week?
I really liked reading all of them because a lot of the, I loved Silver Bullet, the Silver Bullet one because I love that movie. I that's one thing I don't own is the graphic novel of that. I own the movie, but just seeing everybody else's opinions of things that I've either adored or hated. I liked reading all of it.
Awesome.
So I don't necessarily have a favorite.
That's fine. You don't have to. Okay, so Linny.
Mine is not my favorite.
Which one?
Mine.
Yours is not your favorite.
I submitted. I was like, God, I should have put this in there and I should have put that in there.
Oh, there's always other times.
I felt the same way about mine, despite the fact it was 800 years long. I forgot to say that Gary Sinise was nominated for a Screen Actors Guild Award. Oh, I forgot to say that, whatever.
Yeah, and I thought that mine was long until I read that one on the stand because I was like, Jesus. And, whoa, no, I guess mine wasn't really so bad.
It's always funny when you're writing articles like how much is too much and how much is too little and am I actually expressing myself properly? I know I find myself babbling sometimes. I'm like, I need to cut that the fuck out. Holy crap.
That's why I sent mine to Lydia. I was like, can you read this? Because at this point I just feel like I'm rambling because I've been looking at it for 4 days.
Yeah, and that was the shortened version of mine. I'm like, if I edit anything out, it won't sound right, but I don't know what to take out, so I'm like, here, just take it.
Just take it away. Take it away. So that's the danger, like, because I have access to all the editing and stuff, I go back into my articles all the time. I'm like, I'm going to add this. This sounds stupid. What the fuck? I need a new graphic. It's awful. It's such a disease. I hate reading my own shit. All right. Danica. Hi. I want to know your Stephen King week experience.
It's been an awesome week, and I'm going to admit something that I told Lenny earlier in the week, which might get me fired. I have read maybe 2 Stephen King novels.
That is okay.
I know. I grew up reading a lot of Dean Koontz, which is probably...
Oh!
I know you were going to have that reaction. It's not that I don't like Stephen King. I do. I just, for some reason, never gotten around to reading him. I read...
That's all right.
Interestingly enough, I read one called Black House. Have you guys read that one?
See,
it's a sequel to The Talisman.
I have no idea.
Which I didn't know. And so I read that one, and I think I read Dolores Claiborne.
I really liked that one.
No
one liked it, but I thought it was awesome.
I saw the movie but never read the book, so I can't actually comment on the book.
So in an effort to correct this problem, I did buy Pet Sematary this week, and I bought the first Dark Tower.
Yay!
Good luck with that. Sorry.
That's why I only got the first one. To see if I like them.
I'm telling you, read the graphic novels.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to start with the book, and I've seen the graphic novels, and they looked interesting, so I thought
They're
it would.
beautiful.
Yeah. So, what else did I get? Oh, I got the Talisman, which I've already read the sequel to. But the week has been awesome. I like all of the articles that that were written. I don't really have a favorite either. I just
That's fine.
it's been a lot of fun. Has he responded on Twitter to any of our tags?
You know what? He hasn't, but I'm really hoping that he will, or that I have this like faint hope in my head that he's at least peaked.
Yeah.
At least once, because I tag him every single day, at least 4 times a day.
Yeah.
So I know that he follows like 2 people, and has about 245,000 followers. I'm looking at his Twitter page right now. He's got 249,878 followers. And his last post was 7 hours ago. So, and it was about waffles.
I mean, realistically, he has to see it. It's just...
Yeah, it's just a matter of whether, I don't know if he'll even respond, but you know what? Regardless, we did this to welcome him to Twitter, and we totally showed him what the fuck Twitter's about.
He is like brand new though. Maybe he doesn't really even know how to use it yet.
Exactly.
So maybe he hasn't seen him. Who knows?
I don't know.
Talk to his son, because his son tweets the hell out of everything.
Actually, you know what? We should tag him for Jocelyn's article.
Yeah, Jocelyn, as the Hardcover Honey, just expressed not just her love for Stephen King, but her love for all of them.
No, which one is the son that tweets all the time? Is that Owen?
Joe Hill.
Joe Hill, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Hill, Owen King, his daughter-in-law. I know her first name's Kelly. I'm blocking on her last name.
Well, it's either King or Hill.
He has a whole family of writers. So they're all fantastic.
Well, I think if anything, Stephen King Week was really a chance for all of us to share our favorites, and I mean, I think this is how most of us got started into horror. I know when I was in high school, I remember being completely shocked. Someone was reading a passage out of a book, and I think it was It. And it was something about somebody being disemboweled, and he was holding his intestines like so much bird shit. And I was like, he just said intestines are like bird shit? What the fuck is that? And I had to read it all. So I think it's really awesome that we've inspired each other to check out different novels. Like there are like some of these comics that were listed in one of the Guest Honey posts I've never fucking heard of. And some of the books that people listed as their favorites I've never seen, and I really, really love that, because as well-versed as we think we are in horror, there's always something new. And I like that we can share that with each other. It's special. All right, Linny, I know you're drunk, so it's your turn.
A little bit.
It's your turn.
No, it's funny because my history with horror really begins with Stephen King, because I grew up in a family where my beloved grandfather was a horror fanatic. And there was this policy in my family that the girls were not allowed to watch horror films.
Wait, just the girls?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was the only girl in my family for a very long time. All of my cousins were males.
I wish you could see the frog face I'm making right now.
No, it's totally valid. I had no problem with it. And I would sit in the kitchen with my grandmother, and my grandfather would be watching horror films with my cousins. I would hear these screams coming from his room, these blood-curdling screams, and I would be so intrigued. It would drive me crazy. And finally, I guess around 10 years old, I went up to him and said, I want to know what you're watching. Like, I'm tired of being excluded from this. And he brought me into his room, and we watched The Dark Half together. So my first real introduction into horror films was a film based on Stephen King. And we watched The Dark Half, and I was enthralled. I mean, I was sucked in. I had to know more. And it was funny because my grandfather was obsessed with Stephen King. Like, he read everything Stephen King put out, but he hated Misery. I remember watching Misery together, and he was just disgusted by Kathy Bates' character. He was horrified by her. You could never watch anything with her ever in it ever again. But I remember watching that with him, and I was just amazed by it. Like, I thought it was the most incredible movie, and I thought she was so cool and scary and awesome.
She was fucking scary.
Yeah, and
it wasn't just the denim onesie.
No, those awesome overalls. One of Whitney, the dark comedy Honey, and I.
You call a jumper.
Yeah.
Indeed.
The awesome denim jumper. Like, that's what until she shot Richard Farnsworth, I thought she was the coolest chick ever. Like, I totally on board with everything she did until that point. But until I got to sit with my grandfather in his room and watch Stephen King movies, I didn't know anything about horror, and that was my real introduction to it. So for me, Stephen King is what brought me to horror movies. So no matter what I watch to this day, like, he is the be-all, end-all of horror for me. And so I have this just passion for everything he puts out. And over the Stephen King week, I wrote about Christine, which has become my favorite, because not only is it this awesome sort of, like, the revenge aspect of it, because I know what it's like to kind of be the ostracized, odd kid in your class, which I'm sure every honey kind of identifies with. But
it's so funny. I never got picked on ever.
Really?
No, but I was a big bitch early.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, sorry.
I started off in Catholic school, so I never really had an easy run of it. I was always a little odd. But just everything, like Arnie and Christine, the book, the movie, was just the perfect sex god to me. Like, he was just beautiful and weird, and that movie was amazing to me because he went from the nerd to the badass 50s, 60s greaser type. So I loved that book, and I loved that movie, and because of my grandfather, I just absorbed everything Stephen King. And, the dark half, like I wrote, it wasn't the best in terms of the movie. It was kind of cheesy and really, despite George Romero being involved, was not particularly well done. But there's still always going to be something sentimental about it to me because it was my introduction to horror films. So Stephen King is a huge influence to me. Without him, I probably wouldn't be as invested in horror films as I am.
That's awesome. I think I can say the same for it. I got sucked into The Stand really early and just read it over and over and over again, and I had to watch Stephen King movies in secret because there was a video store in our little villagey thing where we lived, and there were like 2 Stephen King movies that they had. One of them was Pet Sematary. And the guy that owned the store knew me. And I was too young to rent on my own, but every time I came with my parents, they were like, you can't rent that. You can't rent that. That's scary. You won't want that. And he would always rent it to me when my mom wasn't there. So I ended up watching it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And yeah. So I know the feels.
Yeah. See, my parents, I had really permissive parents, I guess, being a semi-only child, and it's not particularly well known because I don't make a big deal about it, but I was homeschooled. So I was home alone every day for 8 hours minimum. So I would watch movies constantly, and most of them were horror films. And I watched so many movies that were just based on Stephen King. And I just, that was really my introduction to horror, and it brought me to Vincent Price. It brought me to Hammer. It brought me to everything that kind of, laid the foundation for horror films. And without Stephen King, I wouldn't know anything. So this week has been so much fun for me, especially the tandem review of Thinner. Like, that really was a huge revenge influence for me.
I love that movie.
Yeah, because like what we said on Facebook, what it lacks in knowledge of the Romany culture, it totally makes up for in everything else. It's
absolutely
cheesy as shit, but it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
It's a great film, and it may not be perfectly made, but it's utterly entertaining. So
you can't hate anything with Joe Mantegna. Come on.
Like firing a machine gun at a gypsy camp.
Yeah.
It's totally ridiculous, and yet you're watching it thinking, this is amazing. It's insane.
Okay, so my last Stephen King week question is for everybody. I want to know what enduring visual you have from either a movie or a book. And then I also want to know what movie you think you would have wanted to cover that you didn't get to. Or book. Okay. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Arm wrestle, Danica.
I'll go.
Okay.
5 letters. Can you guess what they are?
Mystery?
Zelda.
Ah!
Yeah, there you go.
That is an image I will never forget, and I think most people would say the same thing.
I totally agree.
Um,
And finding out that it was a guy that played that character?
yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
That whole movie, though, I mean, it's not exactly a faithful adaptation, but I think it was done in such a way that, I mean, that's one of those movies that I can watch. I could watch it once a week, and I wouldn't get sick of it.
I agree.
It's just it's well done, and it's creepy, and it's, you know, it breaks your heart a little bit, and it's, I don't know. I got a big old girly heart on for it, so.
Oh, I got one for Dale Midkiff, so, you know. It's all good.
Adult Miko Hughes.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. I don't care that he's a pocket person. I would happily put him in my pocket and carry him around with me.
He's a club kid. I followed him on Instagram for a while.
Fuck, he is a tiny, tiny little man, but he has beautiful eyes, and he would fit right between my boobs. It's perfect. Sorry, I was a giant pervert when I was in Texas and I met him, or in Kentucky and I met him. It was awful.
I don't even want to think about what would happen if I met him. I would just ask him, like, can you ride around in my backpack for me? Like, I have this perfect spot for you, and you can, like, whisper in my ear.
You can be like Yoda. It'll be great.
Yeah, like Yoda me. You can be my Yoda.
Oh my God.
I can't objectify him in any way, shape, or form because of that movie, and also because he was on Full House.
Oh, he was. Oh my God.
With this little, I forget which Tanner's friend he was, but he was always on that show.
Michelle. It was Michelle.
Yes, Michelle's friend.
Those pictures of him holding the book, like, oh, just.
That's been background on my Twitter page for like a year.
I love that.
He was so cute.
Okay, I'm sorry, Danica. Okay, so Zelda is your enduring image, and I totally agree with that.
That's the enduring image. A movie that I didn't get to.
Or something you would have liked to have seen reviewed.
I don't think so. Like I said, if I had read his entire body of work, I probably would have an answer for that, but...
Oh, no. I haven't.
But, yeah.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
All right, Jen.
I've mostly read Stephen King. I've seen very little of his stuff for the reason in my review, where I just don't believe anybody could actually do it his stuff really well in a movie the way I'd like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I would say from reading, though, the visuals I have in my head that stick with me from reading things. I don't know if any of you guys have read The Talisman, but there's a part where they're going across the Badlands in kind of a weird little train thing, and it's post-apocalyptic, and I love that. And that is really awesome. There's one from novel Eye of the Dragon, which is kind of not a typical Stephen. It's kind of just a fantasy guy and caught, little prince caught in a tower by the bad guy and how he escapes and that kind of thing. Really interesting. I really liked it, and I envisioned the hero going down the tower, and he tied a bunch of bed sheets together and didn't take tension into account. That the longer something gets, there's break tension. But anyway, long story about him hanging there and about potentially fall to his death. From It, probably there's a couple of them. One is the visual of the clown from the book. I've never seen the movie. I refuse to. Of the clown chopping his teeth together, and they're like razors, and cutting up his gums apart, and they're bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that really creeped me out. That really creeped me out. Those are probably my 3 big ones.
Awesome.
I wanted to review actually Carrie, because I haven't gotten a chance to see the new movie yet. So I wanted.
Linny beat you to it.
I know.
It's so funny because Danica hated it, and I didn't mind it that much. I was surprised at how little I minded it as a completely separate entity from the original film.
Yeah, because I haven't seen the original since I was, young. So
that's important. It's because this might be separating a little from the topic, but the new film was so faithful to the book that for me, it was a completely separate entity from the original Sissy Spacek movie. It's kind of all a different genre for me. Like, you have the book, you have the Sissy Spacek movie, and then you have the Chloe Grace Moritz movie, and they're all completely separate. Like, I don't know. I view them as three separate things. It's kind of the way that Suzanne looks at The Shining. You know, the book, the Stanley Kubrick movie, and then the Steven Weber movie, they're all completely separate things.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off there because I'm gonna ask everybody that in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Carrie, but that was already covered, so that's cool. Okay, Suzanne.
Well, I kind of have a similar thing that my visuals are more from the books than from the movies. I mean, you know, the entire is a strong visual for me, but you know, I think probably if I had to pick a movie, wouldn't necessarily be so much a horror movie of his, but and probably.
Oh no, you keep cutting out. Oh, Suzanne, did we just lose you?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. All right. We'll get Suzanne back in a second here. So I'm going to... Nope. Suzanne, are you back?
I'm back.
All right. Let's start over again because I missed everything.
Not want me talking. Okay, so a visual from a movie would probably be the Green Mile when when they take John Coffey out of the prison to go remove the tumor from James Cromwell. And you know, that's one of those scenes where it's just you got feels during that, which is bad.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's one of those movies that kind of sticks with me. And I loved those little, you know, piecemeal novels, serialized novels or whatever you call it. It was in pieces, but from a novel, there's a scene in Salem's Lot, which is not in, you know, it's not in the version, the TV, either TV version actually, where it's with a baby, and you know, the baby has been bitten at this point, and the mother's one of those welfare mothers, sort of abusive, and she finds the baby dead in the crib, and she's not accepting the fact that the baby's not dead, and she keeps trying to feed it chocolate pudding. Pudding keeps falling out of the baby's mouth, and just the visual, the way he describes that scene has never left my head.
Yeah.
You know, it's horrifying, and it's a little heartbreaking, as much as I don't like children. It's really it's a tough thing to read. As far as reviews go, God, I don't know.
There's honestly a few that I would have loved to have reviewed and totally missed out on. Rose Red being one of them that I really, really love and didn't get a chance to talk about. Dolores Claiborne was amazing. And actually The Green Mile, I'm sad that we missed out on. And also Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, that's a great one too.
That's my favorite visual from a movie is when they're in the prison lot and that aria is playing. Tears every single time. It absolutely destroys me.
Well, I think some of his non-horror stuff have been the best movie adaptations. When you look at Stand By Me, Shawshank Redemption,
absolutely,
The Green Mile, you know, anything that Frank Darabont gets his hands on is always really good. The Mick Garris stuff, But somebody actually posted on Twitter today about the girl who loved Tom Gordon, and I kind of forget about that book because I read it when it first came out and have not read it since. But it's really, really a great little book, and probably something I'm going to have to reread now.
I think that happens often. Like, I just watched Graveyard Shift the other night, and I was like, I really need to read this.
Oh, the short story's great. The movie is just ridiculous.
You know what? I actually really liked it.
I hated that movie. And, like, it's completely disconnected, but I love Gabriel Mott, who is Stephen Mott's son. So I made myself watch Graveyard Shift, and I hated the movie. And maybe it's the animal abuse.
It's pretty blatant and awful.
I could not deal with it. It hated it.
You know what? I love the fact that Brad Dourif is in it, and he's just so creepy and amazing, and his speeches are amazing, and he's just like this crazy little rat dude. I loved him. He was like my clean-cut trash can man. It was crazy.
He's amazing. He's one of my favorite people ever. But that movie, I could not. I don't even think I finished it. I'm pretty sure I turned it off halfway through.
You know what? The Monster's actually pretty good. Danica, if you get a chance, it's on Netflix. The Monster's actually pretty rad. It's like this big rat bat thing. I liked it.
I saw it way back in the day, but I don't remember it at all.
I liked it. I really like it when movies don't spend their entire budget on their actors and spend it on their effects instead. Like, you may not have Corey Feldman, but you've got a badass monster. I like that. But that might be my predilection for, good makeup. I don't know. Soft spot.
I don't think Corey Feldman would cost that much at this point.
Yeah, I think his schedule's pretty open.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Lost Boys sequel was just amazing.
Oof. All right, Lenny, it's your turn.
Oh, geez. Okay. In terms of my favorite moment is I actually had to take a screenshot of it because I could not find it online, but in Christine, there's this moment with Keith Gordon where you see him in Christine.
Oh, that was a screenshot?
Yeah.
Oh, nice job.
I had to take a screenshot of it because you can't find it online, but the makeup is so beautiful. And it's meant to convey evil Arnie, and it's just so dark, and it's just so gorgeous. And I remember being so obsessed with the evil version of Arnie, and it's so contrary to the book. But the funny thing about the novel of Christine and the film of Christine is that the film of Christine was actually produced before the novel of Christine ever came out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because Stephen King was so popular at this point that they were producing the movies before the novels were even coming out. But Keith Gordon was just, even as nerdy Arnie, quote unquote, he was just so gorgeous and perfect. And maybe it's my obsession with nerdy guys. But that shot of him in the car right before he's getting ready to run down his girlfriend, like, it's just so perfect. That shot, I'm obsessed with it. When I was watching the film again for my review, I must have rewound it a dozen times to get that shot, to kind of put it in my review, because to me it's the quintessential shot of Christine.
Awesome.
In terms of ones I would have liked to review, I don't know if it's well known at this point, but I have a genuine distaste for John Cusack post like 1990. He's a dick. And him.
Well, let's face it, after Better Off Dead,
Yeah. I know. Actually, I would say post Grosse Pointe Blank.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything after that, I have no use for that man.
He ruined my Poe movie.
I thought was a really beautiful adaptation of a Stephen King story. I just loved the visuals. I thought it was really well done. I thought the atmosphere was great. I thought it was a really great story in general. I kind of love that confined hotel atmosphere that comes with being stuck in one room. So I love that story. And our Dark Honey was going to do a review of it, but she actually got violently ill recently, so she wasn't able to do it. But I think that movie was actually really excellent, and I'm disappointed that it didn't get a better audience than it did. But that's one that I would have loved to reviewed, because I think it was really well done, and I don't know why it didn't get a better audience. That would have been the one that I would have loved to review.
Because I think you're the only person that liked it.
That's entirely possible, and I'm fine with that. I think it was a really well done movie. I thought it was creepy. I thought the visuals were great. As somebody that's really actually into ghost stories and real life hauntings, I love the story of haunted hotels and fascinated by that history that goes with these hotels that have been around forever. And as somebody that's infatuated with New York as a whole and the haunted history that goes with the state of New York, I think it's just it's such a cool story. And despite my distaste for John Cusack, I think that movie was really just the visuals in it were so cool. So I would have liked to review it, but I think it's a really underrated movie in terms of his adaptations go. But that again, my soft spot is kind of showing at this point, I guess.
Yay. All right. That's really awesome. I'm really, really pleased with how Stephen King week has gone. And I really hope that he sees us, because that would be really amazing. And then we could like nerd girl and scream and flap our hands around and stuff.
As we do.
Or at least I would.
I do that for no reason regularly.
Yeah, I shake my hands all the time.
One thing I wanted to mention that actually, I think Jen brought up earlier was the, talking about how he kind of the Dark Tower in other books. So sometimes those don't make sense. But also, if anybody has read Dr. Sleep, in the very first section, there's a reference to one of his son's books. So if you haven't read that,
Jocelyn did a review of it. So
yeah, it's so funny because I feel like when you guys do reviews, I don't actually have to watch the movies, which is really bad. I feel like I've already seen them. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that in all the movies and in his books too, he refers back to other things, like in little sneaky ways. There's in 11/22/63, there's a reference to there's a whole chapter which references not a whole chapter, but that references back to It, some of the kids in It. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, in Needful Things, Alan Pangborn is the sheriff, and he's from Stand By Me.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen it, you don't know. And in Graveyard Shift, there's a reference to Misery. I think it happens constantly in his books, and it's really just a, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see this? Hey, what about this? Hey, remember this? And even in Graveyard Shift again.
Books, then,
oh yeah! Oh my God! Everyone's from fucking Castle Rock.
I remember being shocked when I was watching The Dark Half again, and there were so many references to Castle Rock.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I'd obviously not made that connection, but as an adult,
well, I think the character of Alan Pangborn is also in The Dark Half. Maybe not in the movie, but I think in the book as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many of those little throwbacks, and if you're not a super fan or you're not an avid reader of his stuff, I think it might be lost. It's one of those little extra tidbits. Like even in Graveyard Shift, the name of the textile mill is Backman Mills, and that's his pen name. So, I mean, I love the little connections. I think they get lost on a lot of people.
Well, I'd read most of his stuff. It's unfortunate that he keeps referencing the stuff I hated. And then he made that. Unfortunately, though, like I said, he made that future book actually dependent upon you having read the other one. Like really, I read for 5 chapters, had no clue still what was going on because he keeps saying, "Yeah, remember that thing that happened that time? Yeah,
Yeah, that.
That's why this is happening, isn't it? Yep." Oh, thanks, guys. That's great.
Okay, so now I get to ask the fun question of, are there any Stephen King movies, books, or whatever that you hate? Like, absolutely fucking hate.
Dreamcatcher.
Thank you.
Hey!
Dreamcatcher, both the books and the movie. I've never even been able to finish the goddamn book. It's so bad. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it.
First of all, I am fully prepared to defend this movie.
Okay.
First of all, keeping in mind, I have been drinking since 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But, okay, the movie, if you disconnect entirely from the whole quality aspect of filmmaking,
it's still stupid.
This movie is entertaining as shit because one, Timothy Oliphant, who is a beautiful human being and makes anything infinitely better.
No, he's not.
Shut up.
No.
I can't stand him.
I'm not even going to talk to you right now about that because we're not going to address that. 2, ass aliens. Okay, hilarious.
What is he? No, New Kid on the Block.
Donnie Wahlberg is irrelevant.
Danny Wahlberg, whatever the hell his name is.
Donnie.
Come on.
It's Donnie Wahlberg.
Mentally disabled Donnie.
2, Morgan Freeman being an absolute psychotic wacko. You never get that in a Morgan Freeman movie. So that's something to enjoy. Stop arguing with me. 3. The guy from Homeland, Damian Lewis. Okay? He's in his brain world of files of memories.
Lenny.
Okay,
Lenny.
Shut up. Okay, if you drink a lot and watch this movie, it is entertaining as shit. Okay, this just completely dropping out Dreamcatcher and its amazing movie is like dropping out The Happening as an amazing movie. These are
what?
Brilliant, unintentional comedies.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Unintentional comedies.
For alcohol.
This doesn't have anything to do with me being drunk. These are unintentional comedy.
We're gonna have a whole other discussion about M. Night Shyamalan,
Shyamalan Ding Dong.
but it's not here. He does not belong in here.
That's the new Honeys.
He doesn't belong anywhere.
He doesn't belong anywhere.
No. The Happening is the best unintentional comedy ever made.
Oh my god.
Dreamcatchers comes in second. Dreamcatcher is the second best unintentional comedy ever made.
I feel like I'm in a dream world.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. Suzanne hates Dreamcatcher. Lenny disagrees.
Lenny disagrees vehemently.
And that's okay.
As it should be.
That's okay. D? Fuck.
What do I hate? That's what we're talking about, right?
Indeed.
Hating on something.
Loathe entirely.
Well, maybe. Now I've heard that the book is a lot better. James has actually read it, and he keeps trying to get me to read it. But obviously, the finale of the film is absolutely fucking terrible.
The book is so much better.
That's what I've heard. And I do want to read it, and I plan to. But I love the first half of the film and parts of the second. But the end of it is just like it's just like stop it early, don't even continue. So But yeah, what'd you say, Jen?
Well, it's, like I mentioned in my review of The Stand, when I mentioned like it for about 1 second. Seriously, like they're at the ending of that movie, that whole turtle, and they're flying through nothingness, and they bite the tongue of the turtle to keep themselves from going into whatever. Anyway, like I don't know if you guys have read it, but I can't even describe it right. But you can't. I don't know how they will ever, in God's name, be able to make that movie, because that's the best part. And how do you it's the whole ending? Like, how do you end it without the ending of the book?
That's the whole problem with Stephen King novels, is that they're so descriptive and they're so fantastical, most of them, that it's hard to make a really faithful adaptation without going into the 12-hour mark.
Yeah,
I mean,
and his books are really pretty long. You're talking 400, 500 pages on average.
I really think that the three best Stephen King adaptations are Misery, The Green Mile, and Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
And Green Mile and Shawshank aren't even horror, but they were so beautifully made that I think they really captured the detail of his novels.
Well, and Stand By Me.
Stand By Me was beautiful, and I think for me, it's just to me, it's connected to a childhood memory.
You guys are gonna fucking hate me.
You don't like Stand By Me?
I fucking loathe Stand By Me.
Oh, well, what's wrong with that?
I have no idea. It's just always stuck wrong.
Oh,
with me.
The book as opposed to the movie?
Yeah. Just no.
The funny thing is, and I've told Kat this before, that I'm a Family Guy addict, and I admit this willingly, that Family Guy has particularly ruined Stand By Me and Misery.
I love that you kept posting his Misery photos. Like photos of Stewie.
Yeah. Like, especially, and even Stand By Me, like, train! Train! Like, I can't even forget that Family Guy has not inserted itself into my memories of Stand By Me and Shawshank Redemption. But on the same level, there's Stand By Me was another one of those movies that I saw really young, even before I read the novels, that I was just so moved by. It definitely affected me and introduced me to the novels. So, and I also had a raging childhood crush on River Phoenix. So
yeah, sad face for that one.
Yeah.
You were a giant mess when we were on that tour in LA.
I could not even get out of the bus at the Viper Room. I had to make Kat get out of the bus because the Dearly Departed tour was playing Joaquin Phoenix's 911 call, and I was weeping in the back of the bus as that recording was playing. And I told Kat, I can't get out of the bus here. You need to do it. I am sobbing here, and these girls are looking at me funny.
And she wasn't even saying this to me. She was texting this to me because I was at the front of the bus.
Yeah, I was weeping openly in front of the Viper Room because as a child, I was so in love with River Phoenix that, yeah.
So, I didn't watch Stand By Me at a young age. I watched it as an adult, and I was just like, I can't get past fat Jerry O'Connell. I just can't. Like, what do I do? What do I do with my Sliders crush? What? What do I do with it?
Romaine, by the way.
I understand this, but what do I do with this? I can't handle this.
Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
Mystique.
Yeah.
I brought the comb.
He was fat.
I got that reference.
No, what the fuck was that?
And I brought the comb. That's from Stand By Me. That's what Jerry O'Connell says when they're trying to figure out how much money they can
Yeah.
He was a chubby little fucker. And I am not a small girl. I am okay with that. But Jerry O'Connell was a chubby little fucker. And he is married to Rebecca Romaine right now.
That's because he got taller and hotter, but still.
No.
I think he's a good-looking adult.
I don't think he's that attractive.
Oh, what?
No.
Like, I don't think he's I think as in like on TV/movies, he's not the hot person. I think if you took him to Vancouver, put him in a room full of guys, I think he'd still be one of like pretty good looking guy. I think our standards are.
Jen, are you saying our standards are low?
Yeah. I don't know. I think what you're accustomed to seeing
Are
on
you
TV.
speaking
I don't
for
think
all Canadians?
In America, Jerry O'Connell is pretty low.
I agree with that.
I gotta be honest. Jerry O'Connell is not one of the better looking guys.
Oh my god.
Nice.
You know, I like the fact this is an all-female podcast because we can just descend into talking about cock.
Suzanne,
That's great.
Timothy Oliphant is better looking than Jerry O'Connell.
Who? Say that again?
Timothy Oliphant is better looking than Jerry O'Connell.
Ah!
No, I will punch you in the face. Chicago and punch you in the face about this. Timothy Oliphant is Jerry O'Connell.
I'm sorry, I actually have to slide back from the microphone.
No, see, I'm not saying that Jerry O'Connell is better looking than Timothy Oliphant. I'm just saying that for me, neither one of them registers.
Lenny!
Suzanne.
I was, throw a Christopher Maloney at me. Throw a Tom Hiddleston at me.
Oh.
But I can't get on board with Jerry O'Connell and Timothy Oliphant. It just doesn't do anything.
Throw Chris Maloney into the pool. No one else wins. That's
true. That's true. And in fact, I have SVU on mute right now. So.
Oh my god. Dude, SVU is always on mute in my room.
We have gotten off topic.
You guys.
All right.
I'm crazy because of my obsession with Law and Order SVU.
Oh my
Ladies.
This is where I will back up Lenny 100 billion%.
Thank you.
I am all over that shit.
Thank you.
Okay, well, for right now, let's calm our tits.
Okay.
And no.
The tits will never be calm.
Chris Maloney's in the room.
Okay, well, since he isn't in the room.
Over Chris Maloney.
But I might have to fight you for that.
Find him for me. Then I will rub our tits all over him.
Wow. Chris Maloney, if you're listening, offers are on the table.
I was looking for an opportunity to tag him in something, and I think this is it. Chris Maloney, the Supernatural Honey, and I will rub our tits all over you.
It's evolving.
Wow. Okay, let's elevate this back to a some kind of level.
What level do we really have? This is what's entertaining to people.
I know there's at least one step up from this. I know there is. Oh fuck. Okay.
Kill Your Lover Week.
Yes. Let's move on from Stephen King Week, which was so much fun, and we actually used up an hour and like 15 minutes talking about it. I want to move on to what's happening in February.
Woo!
Because February is like 2 weeks away.
Ladies clap.
Woo!
What the fuck happened to January?
It's
So
done already.
I know. In February is Women in Horror Month, and just like Black History Month, we get the shortest month. Whee!
Whee!
So for Women in Horror Month, we're going to be doing a special project with our Scream Queens Hall of Fame. I believe we're going to be doing a death match of the young Scream Queens. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, the plan is that
And Danica, this was your idea.
yeah.
So thank you for that.
We are taking our Monster Honey's idea, and we are adapting it from the whole. Because part of our horror honeys are based in Canada, which has nothing to do with what goes on in America. There is a thing that happens in America called March Madness, and it's got to do with basketball and things that some people just don't care about.
Mardi Gras is in March too.
Well, that's different. We care about Mardi Gras.
But that has nothing to do with what we're talking
I'm
about.
just saying.
March Madness is a basketball thing, and they do epic Kat, I'm balking on the word.
It's like a round robin basketball layout things. This person versus this person equals this person.
There you go. Close enough.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know how it works anymore. I haven't played basketball for a very long time.
Close enough. We're going to do a contest. We are going to...
We're gonna pit
We're going to do a contest.
scream
where
queens
people
against each other.
pick Their favorite scream queen.
Scream queen.
Scream queen. And once it's all over, after people have voted for their favorite scream queen, when it's all over, the person that wins can be voted into the Scream Queen Hall of Fame. So that's the eventual end of the whole Women in Horror Month and our Scream Queen Hall of Fame contest.
Perfect. So we will be profiling a new Scream Queen every week. And then in March, we'll be having them battle it out. 4 votes.
Woo woo!
Even though they won't know that it's going on in real life, that doesn't matter.
We will try to help them know. Yay, Twitter!
Yay, Twitter.
Prior to February, though, a new Scream Queen will be entered. So keep an eye out for that, because I will be entering a new Scream Queen in the next week. So
Hooray.
keep an eye out.
Awesome. February is also Kill Your Lover week for Valentine's week, because fuck Valentine's Day.
Exactly.
So we'll be featuring some creative ways to kill your lover. Does anybody have a favorite, aside from Lenny, a favorite kill your lover themed film that they want to mention?
Do you want me to go?
Crickets. Yes, please.
Okay, so in February, I will be featuring 2 of my favorite Kill Your Lover films, or 1 favorite Kill Your Lover film, and 1 movie that has been the worst film I have seen in my life, and it will be the worst film I have seen in 2014. I am already calling that already. So, the best film I have seen for Kill Your Lover Month will be featuring Katie Sackhoff, who, Jen, do you want to talk about Katie Sackhoff a little bit?
Oh, of the Battlestar Galactica?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I heart Katie Sackhoff. She was she played Starbuck in the Battlestar Galactica remake that was done a few years ago. Spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like what I really liked about her is I probably gush on about 100,000 times thing I write. She on Battlestar, they changed her character of Starbuck from, as I'm sure everybody knows, from a male character in the original to female, and everybody's like, "Oh no, you can't have a female playing Starbuck." And she wasn't. What I really liked about how she played Starbuck was that she'd walk into a room and she doesn't rely on the stereotypical way that they tend to portray powerful women, which is you come in and you're a giant bitch and you try to kill people. Like she was kind of,
That's wrong.
you know what I mean? Like she just came in and was a leader. You know, and I liked how they didn't make a big deal out of the fact she was a woman and she was a leader. She just was, and they accepted it. So that's really why, I'm a huge Katie Sackhoff fan. Aside from Riddick, and we shall not speak of that
We shall not.
ever again.
Yes.
Ever.
So Jen and I are both huge Katie Sackhoff fans, and we have written about that before. If you go to the site, you can see that we have written before about Battlestar and how much we love Katie Sackhoff. But I admit willingly that I have a raging heteroflexible crush on Katie Sackhoff. Katie, if you're listening, I will happily go heteroflexible for you. You are about my favorite person in the whole world.
In other words, watch your back, Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah, I'm coming for you. But one of the best movies I've already watched this year that I'm willing to go on record as one of my favorites is a film called Sexy Evil Genius. And the title is terrible.
It's awful.
It's awful. It's a horrible, horrible mouthful of terribleness.
Ugh.
But the film features Seth Green, who I generally hate.
Really?
How
do you not
I'm
like
sorry,
Seth Green?
I like
I'm
Seth
sorry,
Green.
I have no use for
How do
Seth
you
Green.
hate Oz?
Oh, Buffy.
I know, I love Buffy, but I have no use for Seth Green in anything.
Robot Chicken.
Robot Chicken.
You can yell at me about Robot Chicken all you want, but I
Star Wars.
Robot Chicken Star Wars.
My pocket.
You can talk over each other and Robot Chicken all you want.
Okay, well, I'm glad to say that you're in a minority here. Okay, you can keep going, though.
I'm fine with that. But there is a film that came out in 2013 called Sexy Evil Genius that I'm guessing nobody saw.
No.
But it features Katie Sackhoff, who is one of the most gorgeous women on the face of the planet. And it features Seth Green, who I generally don't like. And it features Michelle Trachtenberg, who I generally don't like.
Buffy's little sister.
I didn't hear what you just said. But
Buffy's little
again,
sister.
in Buffy, I don't like Michelle Trachtenberg as Dawn. I think
She's terrible.
She's terrible in Buffy, right?
Not good in Buffy.
No, but Sexy Evil Genius, despite the terrible title, is one of the best revenge films I've ever seen. If you have not heard of it, it's on Netflix. It's amazing, and I do a review of it in Kill Your Lover Month because since Battlestar Galactica, there have not been a lot of movies that have really given Katie Sackhoff the role that she deserves, because like our Sci-Fi Honey said, Riddick was really rapey and really anti-lesbian and did not give Katie Sackhoff the role that she has earned as Starbuck. And Sexy Evil Genius does, because she is gorgeous and evil and revengey, and it's just it's so perfect. And everybody that's listening to this, please go on Netflix and watch Sexy Evil Genius, because I'm just blown away by how good this movie is. Alternatively, the worst movie I have seen in 2014, and I am willing to go on record of this, and Kat has seen how much I hate this movie. Kat, just cover me on what you know of how much I hate this movie.
Let's just say, just to preface, that the article as it is drafted right now is full of so many eye-rolling gifs that I can't even handle it. And I think you might actually kill the system with how many eye-rolling gifs you've put into this article.
It's a good chance.
And we have a big collection.
We do. We have acquired so many eye-rolling gifs. But I have compiled them all into this article. There is a movie called Scorned, starring Annalyn McCord. McCord? I don't know.
Someone who will never work again.
McCord, that's it. She's in...
What's the name of the movie again?
Scorned.
Scorned.
Sorry, your audio cut out.
No, it's probably me and my drunkenness.
Oh, okay.
And your accent. Womp womp.
It's called Scorned. And it was made last year. It stars Billy Zane, who spends the majority of this movie chomping on cigars like he is a third-rate Telly Savalas. I have never seen anyone as bald and as obnoxious in a movie before as Billy Zane is in this movie. It is literally the worst movie I have seen in my entire life. And I have posted movies before where I have said that they're the worst movies I have seen. However, Scorned is easily the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
I like the fact that you mentioned that they mentioned the word scorn several times.
They do. Annalyn McCord looks at Billy Zane and says, "You have scorned me." 3 times.
3 times.
Full times.
I don't know if I could ever say that in a regular conversation with a straight face.
I feel like it should be.
I am feeling scorned.
In my review, I state that if anyone has actually ever, pardon me, I have been drinking. If anyone has ever really
If anyone's ever actually uttered this in a sentence.
There you go. If ever anyone has ever really
Just go with what I said.
Yeah, do that.
uttered the words, "You have scorned me," in their life, I will send you a honey prize pack.
Yeah.
If you have looked at another human being and said, "You have scorned me," I will send you a honey prize, because that happens.
And it's not from a movie from the 1940s.
No, that happens 3 times in this movie.
Well, I keep thinking, I hear the words.
Looks at Billy Zane 3 times and says, "You have scorned me." In that accent, by the way. I don't know why she's Southern, but for some reason she is. She says, "You have scorned me."
That sounds like something out of American Horror Story.
It's terrible. No, American Horror Story knows better than to say something stupid like this.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone has ever uttered those words before, I will send you a honey prize pack, because it is terrible. This is the worst movie I have ever seen in my life.
I'm sorry,
And this-
Jen, you tried to interject. I'm cutting you off, Lenny.
Oh, no, I am. Because when I hear the word scorned, I think it should be preceded by "thou hast," as opposed to "you have." You know what I mean? Like, "thou hast scorned me."
It must be biblical.
You
You know
think "thou hast scorned me"? No.
"Thou
She
hast."
looks at him and says, "You," and his name is Kevin. Keep that in mind. "You have scorned me, Kevin."
"Thou hast
That is-
scorned me, Kevin."
You have scorned me, Kevin.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 times. It happens 3 times.
Wow. You know what? I was. Oop. Suzanne, what? Sorry.
What?
I talked over you.
How many times does it happen?
3. You have scorned me, Kevin.
"You scorned me for the last time."
Okay, so we've established that Lenny hates this movie.
No, there is
No. Darling.
There is no establishing that I've hated this movie, because there is not enough words in the English language.
Not enough scorn.
No. I
You said
did not
nothing but scorn.
properly establish how much I hated.
Nothing but scorn for this movie.
Whoever Mark Jones. Okay. Mark Jones? Let's lay this out. Mark Jones directed Leprechaun, and he directed the Scrappy and Scooby-Doo Haunted Hour.
Perhaps you should have checked out his filmography before watching this. Just a suggestion.
That would have been a good thought.
Oh my god.
The worst part is that a woman helped write this script. And that hurts. Because no woman should have been part of writing this script.
Oh my god.
But for the record, Mark Jones. Okay, wait. I'm on IMDb right now.
I have a
Mark
feeling you shouldn't be on anything right now.
No, it's important that I establish this. Mark Jones has written James Bond Jr., an episode of Owl, Riptide, the Scooby and Scrappy Doo Puppy Hour.
He wrote that?
He wrote that.
That had writers?
He wrote 16 episodes of the Scooby. Oh wait, 16 episodes of What's New, Mr. Magoo.
Well, now that's classic.
He wrote 1 episode of the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo Puppy Hour.
Oh god, getting fired from that must be really heartbreaking.
And whatever the Adventures of Sheriff LeBeau is,
Sheriff Lobo,
whatever.
Oh wait, you know what that is?
Claude Akins.
I'm not even going to address the fact that you know what that is.
I didn't watch it. I just know what it is.
Whatever, Suzanne.
Pop
But-
culture, baby.
Whatever. This is the man responsible for Leprechaun.
Oh my god.
Let's just let that sink in. Okay.
Lenny, I'm gonna cut you off.
Go ahead.
That's what's happening right now. I thank you.
Let's just say,
I thank you
I'm
for
just
your
gonna
rage,
stop
and I
myself
hear
from
you.
saying, This is the worst movie I've seen all year, and then you can continue.
I thank you for your rage.
You're more than welcome.
I
I've
thank
never
you
been
so
more
much.
rageful at a movie than I have at this one in my entire life.
All this and more is what you can experience at thehorrorhoneys.com for February.
So rageful.
Fuck. Oh my god. Alright, so since Lenny's just gone off, I would like to open the floor for anyone else to go off about anything that they've wanted to rant about.
I
Anybody?
don't think any of us could top that.
Well, you don't have to top it.
I am rageful.
Kevin.
Kevin! Oh my god. Fuck. No, I'm serious. Does anyone have anything that they would like to touch on? Last week we talked about Cabin in the Woods and how polarizing it is and who hates it and who doesn't. I'm sorry that you missed that one, Danica. I really wanted to have you there as my negative face for that.
Yeah, I was a little sick.
I know. So, but that's okay. And then we also talked about found footage, and Suzanne expressed an extreme hate for that.
Yep.
Oh my god. You know what? Actually, we're at an hour and a half. I think we should just wrap it up. Let's do it that way. We've had an amazing week, an amazing start to January. And I want to thank all of you ladies for everything that you've done to further what we're doing. And I want to thank you for your dedication to it, because I think we go super underappreciated for all the work that we do behind the scenes. You guys all have lives. You guys all have jobs. Except for Jen and Lenny, but that's okay. But you all have other things going on, and I know that
Hey!
honey work is a very special thing, and I really appreciate all of you for doing everything that you've done
Better be.
for the brand and for the Horror Honeys. So to close, I want each of you to spell out your Twitter handle and just say goodbye, and we'll go with that. Sound good?
Sounds great.
I have to look mine up.
Jen, you get to go first.
Jen Spacey, as in at JenSpacey.
All right, Danica.
It's Danica, Danica, the Freaka, Freaka. That is my Twitter handle.
Excellent, Suzanne.
It's at SuzB04. I know that's not very clever. SUZEBEE 04.
Awesome, and you can find all of us through me at Horror Honeys, HORRORHONEYS. And you can find all of our reviews, rants, raves, and everything else at www.thehorrorhoneys.com. I'm also going to say goodbye for The Revenge Honey. That is at Linnie Loohoo, LINNIELOOWHO. Yeah, WHO. Ladies, I want you to stay on. We will chat afterwards, so don't say later alligator yet, Miss Jen. So thank you all so much for listening, and watch out for next week. Bye-bye.
I love to take my baby to a movie show, so I can try to smooch her while the lights are low. But she won't cuddle to a story of romance. There's only one way I've got a chance. It takes the Batman, Wolfman, Frankenstein, or Dracula to put her in the mood for love. It takes the